It's the Underpowered Hour. On this week's show, Ineos building cars again, stolen Land Rovers found in the last place you'd expect them, we recap Dakar, and finally I talk about my trip to the UK and meeting all of your favorite Land Rover people. And now, here's the show. Welcome to the Underpowered Hour. I'm Steve Beres, mild-mannered television executive by day and Land Rover collector by night. You can find out more about our cars and what we're working on at theberescollection.com or follow us on Instagram at theberescollection. I'm joined, as always, by my good friend, Goss.
Thank you to everyone joining us today.
I'm the metal dash to Steven's padded dash. I am the interesting facial scar of podcasting, Ike Goss.
I own and operate Pangolin 4x4 in Springfield, Oregon, where we live and breathe Land Rovers. Check us out online on Facebook, Instagram at Pangolin 4x4. Let's get started.
All right, Ike. Well, I'm not in the normal podcast area here this week.
Are you in a champagne room? Is that what that is?
That's right. Yes, that's exactly right. Yes. I'm here in London in an upscale gentleman's club. No, my hotel room just looks like a strip club. It's where I am. It seems to be the one that we booked. It's nice. It's if you haven't logged on to the YouTube to check out the show, this is the time. And for this reason only, it's worth checking out my room here. It's great. It's got this weird light and then another light that's a different color. So
well, what else is going on right now?
Well, there's startling news here in England. Exciting, maybe for some. The James Radcliffe has started up the Ineos production line again. He physically went out there. He threw the big lever, I guess, or whatever. I don't know. And they're starting to make those cars again. Now, what I've heard is they've got quite a few of them unsold already, so I'm not sure how important it is to restart the line. But they do. They've started again. I guess they've gotten that labor thing or seat thing, whatever, figured out now, and everything's back to normal. So it's good news.
So yeah, it was seats, I think, wasn't it? They had some kind of issue with the supply chain and the
child labor, some kind of.
So did they just have a bunch of like finished cars without seats, or did they just stop making them?
I don't know the answer to that. I know that there's quite a few cars sitting unsold, and so I'm not sure. Did they keep making cars and then put the seats in, and then now going to go put the seats in? Not 100% sure. But
where did you hear that they had a number of cars unsold?
Top secret individual.
I have a feeling I know.
I'm here in England. Everything is a secret. Everything's a secret, as we know. As we know, everything's a secret that everyone knows about. So yeah, that's how it works here.
So you didn't see like a big open field of completed Grenadiers.
I didn't, but they get cheap enough. I might just have to get one. Maybe with seats.
Seems like an interesting format of the Land Rover story.
Kind of exactly. The ultimate Land Rover copy. But yeah, speaking of Land Rover copies and the ultimate in that format, our friends over in China have been hard at work on a few new vehicles, but one personal favorite that I have, and this is just new as of, a few weeks ago. If you read the Car News China, which of course I'm a subscriber to, and I believe you're a monthly contributor, they've come out, hard to say, exactly who. It appears to be our good friend Chery and their sub-brand, Jet Tour Xinjiang. I don't know. How do you say that?
I'm not going to try.
Yeah, it's racism if you try.
I'm going to hurt myself.
Right. It's difficult.
My tonsils are going to fall out.
Something like that. Yeah, they've come out with a new car that they're hoping will compete with the Defender and things. This one, to me, looks a little bit more like a Ford Bronco, the new Ford Bronco.
Chery Motors is definitely the 800-pound gorilla, so to speak. They just do what they want.
They don't care. They don't care.
They don't care. So on the one hand, they're collaborating with Land Rover on the Freelander named, upcoming Freelander.
That's right.
model.
This one, no collaboration.
And then similarly, they're competing against Land Rover with this Jet Tour model.
That's right. The JWM Tank 700, 500, and 300. I don't know if that's like your
like
90
a Gundam robot.
It might be. I don't know. It's.
Are you sure this is a SUV? Is this a robot that you ride around in?
Jet Tour Jizong JWM Tank 700.
To be fair to some of these Chinese firms that are producing these SUVs, some of their features are wild.
Oh, yeah, they are. They're really cool.
Wild. They have ones that'll drive in the water.
Yeah, well, yeah.
That one?
I have seen that one.
There's an amphibious one.
But only for 30 minutes.
There's one that jumps.
A jumping one?
Yeah, it jumps.
Oh, that's kind of
fun.
Like
the suspension, it's got like some kind of air suspension, and then it'll jump like
a low rider.
Inches.
Yeah.
It uses the same technology as that sports car that jumps over speed bumps and potholes.
Oh, yeah.
Have you seen that thing?
Yeah. It's like a jumping spider.
It'll just drive along at like highway speeds, and if there's like a rock in the road, it'll just jump over.
Just jump over. It's fine. There's nothing. It works totally fine. It's perfect.
It sounds crazy, system. But it is crazy.
It is great. It sounds crazy because it is. This particular one, I believe you need to get 5 of your friends together, and when your individual vehicles assemble themselves together then into one of these. I think when you say the magic words or something.
It's like a Voltron.
It's like a Voltron, yeah. Essentially, we're talking about Voltron situation here. So, yeah,
man, we're dorks.
No, I know it's great. It's I'm certainly a customer. They seem great. So we'll just you and Linus and Jenna and I, maybe Maddie, will all. I just want to be the head. That's all. That's I want my car to be the head.
Yeah, I'm sorry you drew the short straw.
You got crotch.
The robot crotch.
The robot piece. Oh, damn it. Yeah, that like odd like belt cod piece thing. Yeah, damn it. Oh.
Yeah, sorry. So here's a question for you. We see a lot of news about these Chinese vehicles being produced, how low the prices are on these vehicles.
That's right. Yeah.
How reasonable the quality is. Mm-hmm. How long is it before we see these cars hit our shores? And when's that going to happen? Like they're talking pricing that would overcome any sort of tariff that you can think of.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, here in the UK, you actually see a lot of these Chinese brands. Okay. I in fact rode in a pickup truck that was an all-electric Chinese-made pickup truck at Leavesden at our studio here. And the gentleman I was driving with, I asked him, how is this car? Is it pretty good? And he's like, it's total shit. I was like, oh, well, why? He's like, you take it on the motorway and anything over 60, it starts violently shaking. I'm like, wow, Jesus. Okay, well, so he's like, yeah, we don't take them off the lot. We just drive them around here at like 25 miles an hour. It's fine. But anything outside of that, not so good.
It's about what you expect from a Land Rover.
Yeah, I'm like, that doesn't seem odd to me. Yeah, that seems about right. You can get it to go 60 miles an hour. That's very impressive. Yeah. Yeah, we don't have that problem. They don't go that fast.
How did it seem when you were in it?
It seemed nice. I mean, it seemed fine. It was like a Ford Ranger. It seemed at about the same quality level. It seemed, I mean, they don't make an all-electric Ford Ranger yet. It's certainly not as nice as the F-150, but, it was an inexpensive. But I believe that car cost £11,000 or something crazy. Like, it's so cheap that, there's nothing close to it.
That's like $14,000 or something.
Yeah, $15,000. Yeah. For a 4-door crew cab.
You can't even buy a side-by-side here in the United States.
No, you can't get that. No, not at all. No, sometimes you can't even get a reasonable dinner in Los Angeles for that. So it is super cheap. And, I guess he would say it feels super cheap to drive, but to look at it and to sort of, ride it and stuff, it looked fine, and it felt okay. And,
Well, I'm curious when we start to see this, invasion of Chinese vehicles that we keep hearing about.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. Yeah.
Speaking of an invasion of Land Rovers, I understand that many of these stolen Land Rovers that we've been covering for the last year have been found.
That's what you've been telling me, and I have to say I can't believe it. It's fantastic that these vehicles have shown up. Where in the world did they find them?
Kind of ironically, they found them in the woods of Nottinghamshire. And 22 of these stolen Land Rovers have been found in the woods, in many cases abandoned, Apparently they started finding them and they just kept finding them, and they walked the woods and used drones to find as many as they could.
Yeah.
And they ended up finding almost 24 vehicles.
That's insane. In a Robin Hood-like fashion, they would rob these cars from the rich and then just abandon them in Sherwood Forest.
Yes.
Wow.
I think that's exactly what happened.
That's crazy.
So it's definitely drawing parallels to some of those stories. The Robin
Were they located by the sheriff of Nottingham? Is that who found them? Yeah.
That's not clear from the article that I read, but
if I'm not mistaken, is a large fox, right? I think no, he's not a fox. He's like a It's like a weird wolf, right? Like a wolf.
That sounds right.
Yeah, Robin Hood is the fox. He's a wolf, something like that.
Or a bear. I can't remember.
No,
anyway.
Yeah, somebody's a bear for sure. Yeah. I'm sure there were bears involved in this. So, yeah. And I wonder if it's just that they stole them and then they're like, oh, this is not good. I'm just going to leave this here in the forest.
Yeah, I don't know what their motivations were. Apparently, they were not extensively parted out.
Really?
The pictures show them overgrown, covered in moss. They've been there for some time. But if you're missing a Land Rover and it's been stolen, there's a good chance that it might be in the forest of Nottinghamshire.
Yeah. Head over there to Nottinghamshire and check in with the Sheriff Nottingham and see if he has your Land Rover. Maybe. Yeah, maybe. Interesting. Speaking of Land Rovers in odd places, and this, of course, being really, really fantastic, the Dakar Classic has been taking place, and we were lucky enough to have, like an insane amount of Land Rovers in the Classic this year. Range Rover, two-door Range Rovers, and the like. But most importantly, and certainly my favorite, the Series 3 long wheelbase Land Rover, and the two gentlemen who expertly piloted that car. And man, I love it. I love that classic Land Rover blue. You've got your white, roof and some Dakar stickers on that sucker. And not only did it make it, but I did pretty well.
Did very well. The Dakar Classic is a regularity rally, so they give you a time that is your target. If you're too fast or too slow, then you get penalized for that. In this particular case, there are 3 classes within the Dakar Classic, and those represent different age groups. So the newest being 2005. So if your car is 25 years old, you can enter it and you have a faster target time. If you have a car that's from 1995, then you have a slightly slower target time. And then if you have an 85 or earlier vehicle, you have the slowest target time.
That makes sense.
But all those classes are competing with one another in terms of those target times, how close you are to it. So, for example, if you're in the slowest category, you could still beat someone in the fastest category.
Right.
So they place them within their category, and then they place them overall. And that Series 3 109 Wagon got 3rd overall within the Dakar Classic and 1st within its age group.
That is incredible. Really well. Yeah, it did extremely well. I mean, to place 1st in the class, the 3rd overall, that's awesome. And the 2 of them, I've seen now quite a few interviews and things with them, just seem like a lot of fun. They, the one gentleman had never seen a Land Rover before, I think the co-driver, and yeah, it was just incredible. I mean, they've done so well, and just to keep a car running is incredible through that race,
They beat a lot of veteran teams. Yeah, I think they're running a V8 and power steering and disc brakes and a few other upgrades, but it seems like it's a pretty much all Land Rover drivetrain, which is kind of fun. And, they're one of, I want to say 4 Land Rover teams, 2 classic Range Rovers, a white one and a gold one, and a Defender 110, and then the Series 3, and the Series 3 beat them all.
Beat them all. There you go. Just goes to show you. And I can tell you that when, those Range Rovers are bona fide race cars. They have roll cages, they have auxiliary, they have the fuel cell tanks, they have specially tuned engines. Those are serious cars. And this is not that. The Series 3 is definitely, yes, I mean, it's been, like you said, it's been kind of, modified, but it's still at the end of the day, it's still a Series 3 Land Rover. It's not really.
It is still
there's only
running
so
leaf
much you can
springs,
do.
which I think you have to. If
Right.
your
You
car
can
came
do
with leaf springs, you have to
Mhm.
have leaf springs.
Mhm.
But they all have to have the roll cages and the
Yeah.
perspex windows and the fuel cells, and that's all FIA stuff. And since
Right.
it's an FIA event, they have to adhere to those rules. So,
Mm-hmm.
it's got some big brake lights on top of it and some
Yep.
other things that are mandated by the racing organization. But, like you said, at the end of the day, it's still an old Land Rover, and it sure looks like it drives like one for the most part, but it does have a little more power for sure.
A little bit more power, yeah, and it can stop maybe slightly better. But no, super cool. We're really working to get those guys on the show. It'd be super fun to talk about that experience.
Yeah, they're from Lithuania, I want to say.
I think that's right. Yeah, I think that's right.
Congratulations to those fellas.
Yeah, well done, and to all the Land Rover teams for just being there and making it through. This was a tough year, in the production classes and the pro classes. People favored to win or out. They rolled, or something in the car didn't work, or whatever. So
a lot of crashes.
Really upsetting year this year for who would be expected to win. So yeah, no, very cool. And the American style trophy trucks suffered. I think greatly. They had mechanical issues nonstop. I think because those trucks are built to drive really fast for like 2 days and then be completely rebuilt. And so this 2-week, journey that they're on has proven to be pretty punishing, I think. And
what class were the trophy trucks in?
I think they're in some kind of modified, one of the 27 classes that they have. I don't remember exactly, but they had, I think, 3 teams running American style trophy trucks and didn't do well at all. And the thinking was, they're 1,000 horsepower race cars. They should desert race cars. It should be no big deal. But the problem is the reliability. They don't have the staying power of a car that's built for the long distance travel. And doesn't need to go that fast, really.
Is it fair to say that Series 3 Land Rover beat some 1,000 horsepower trophy trucks in the Dakar Rally?
I think that's fair to say.
What I'm hearing?
100% fair to say that. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to interpret it that way.
Print it. Yeah, absolutely. that's exactly.
Slow and steady wins the race.
100%. Yeah, and they did a great job. Yeah. So looking forward. Hopefully we can chat with those guys because I would love to hear about that experience. It just seems like what a super fun way to do that event. So we'll see. And we gotta get a Freelander in there at some point. That's the ultimate, I think, Dakar vehicle, just built to purpose. I think so. I think that's it.
I'm going to say that no one wants to see that happen.
Speaking of Freelanders, of course, I'm here in His Majesty's United Kingdom this week, and no trip to the UK is complete without a visit with our very good friend Bob Ives and his talented combine harvesting son Dan. I decided I would go out there actually today. I just got back a few minutes ago to go see them out, in the western part of London here, just outside of London. And what did I get picked up in? But Bob's Camel Trophy Freelander.
Wow.
Absolutely amazing. What an experience.
Did you make it back to the farm?
We actually made it down to see our good friend John Luke Masters and back to the train station. I know. What? Now, I don't know. Again, they dropped me off at the train station. They may be dead now. I have no idea. It's impossible to know, right? I don't know if they got home, but they did get to the train station, and then we went down through one of the national parks and came back, and no one died. Now, subsequently, sure, maybe, but it was super fun. And John brought his newly restored Camel Trophy GWAC training vehicle, one of two that were ever made, and super cool. He's done an incredible job on putting that car back together and getting all the bits for it and restoring it and making all the things that were missing. And it's a great car, really, really fun car. And so we did quite a bit of Nick Dimbleby style photography with those two vehicles, the GWAC and the Freelander. A really, really special day. Anytime you're spending time with a Freelander.
That's cool.
It's always good. Yeah, it's always good. Yeah, we went out to the Beanloo Museum, automotive museum there, and it was great. There was super cool stuff. There was restoring one of the land speed record cars, the first car to break 200 miles per hour, which does that by mating together two 12-cylinder engines worth 500 horsepower each. Through like this insane transfer case and then out to like a transaxle out to the wheels, which are chain driven to the back of the car. It's just insane. Like the most absurd kind of engineering. 4 dynamos per engine and 2 giant carburetors with like a basketball size intake on them, and like just a nutty car, but very cool, very, very cool. And they had a lot of the high speed vehicles there right now. This is, of course, the museum where Bob's 110 winning Camel Trophy winning 110 was displayed in their lobby for some time. That famous photo of it up on some logs, doing a little log bridge crossing right in the middle. So that's that same museum. So very cool. Very, very cool stuff. And I guess Dan was saying it might have been the British Motor Museum before they built the one in Gaydon. So,
oh, interesting.
Yeah, so it's really cool. They got some really neat stuff. They have a monorail, which was pretty great.
Monorail. I love the Simpsons monorail episode.
The monorail.
Where the guy comes to town and hornswoggles everybody into buying a monorail.
Yep.
Love it.
I think a similar thing happened here. I feel like a traveling monorail salesman stopped in, and
that was the transportation of the future in 1985.
Yeah, it sure was. Yeah, this is pretty great. Green monorail. It goes right through the middle of the building and then around. It's like Disneyland. It's just exactly like that.
Epcot Center, they had a monorail, right?
It's exactly like that. Basically no difference. Yeah, so we did that. And then yesterday night, I had the distinct pleasure of having a dinner with your and I good friends, Mr. Michael Bishop and Mr. Alex Massey from the CKD shop.
Alex was just here like 2 days ago.
I know, that's what I hear. Now, Rob unfortunately made other plans specifically so that he didn't have to spend time with us. But Alex was available.
Smart.
Yeah, it's the right move. Yeah, he's yeah. So we went and visited the CKD shop to see what they're working on, and they've got, of course, some incredible cars in there. Some secret cars that are being put back together. So
secret cars that everyone knows about.
Secret cars that everyone knows about. That's exactly right. Yes, yeah. So they're working on a few of those, and of course, 1,000 individualized, super well organized bits for your series Land Rovers, all categorized there. And I wish I had more carry-on space. I would have brought back another Land Rover worth of parts.
You would have done some carrying.
Oh man, I love it. There's so much good stuff there. They got so much good stuff. And then we went for dinner in what would look like a church that apparently was at one point a primary school that is now a retirement home, and essentially had dinner in the dining room of the retirement home. And it was pretty great. It was good stuff. I had a banger and mash.
Salted Fantastic. Mush.
Yep. That's exactly right. The 3, it had vegetable, it had potato, it had brown meat. That's everything you need.
I love that correspondence on the internet where someone asks, is British food really that bad? And someone else replies, if you prepare it correctly, yes.
I'm a big fan, and we really ran the gamut here. Everything from sausage rolls to bangers and mash to a Sunday roast to I'm about as soon as we end this, I'm going to head off to Nando's. That's where I'm going. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Are we going to get a review?
Maybe. We'll see if I have time. I don't know. We've got a lot going on, so it's hard to say. We had a good Sunday roast with Philip Dunsfold last time. Sure did. Yeah, with that pub that people kept pulling up to in their tractors.
Yeah.
It was awesome. Oh, I love a Sunday roast.
It's my kind of place.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, unfortunately, I'm leaving too early tomorrow morning to get a Sunday roast before I go, which I'm lamenting, but have to get back to LA because obviously there's lots of cleanup and stuff around the fires. Thankfully, we were unaffected, but definitely have to get back. And
there were some other people that were definitely affected.
Yeah, there's 7,000 structures worth of people who were affected. Just nearly 1,000 people at Warner Brothers alone. So it's tough. It's a bad place right now. Yeah. So, interestingly, though, our good friend that we were on the panel with at Destination Defender,
Matt.
Yeah. So he assembled, reached out to Land Rover and got 2 Land Rovers to help with his search and rescue effort in Los Angeles during the fires. Those 2 Land Rovers happened to be the 2 Rebel Rally cars. That's the ones that Land Rover, they're like, these ones are already ruined. Just take these. They've got so much sand in them that they'll never be good again. So
that's pretty cool, And I talked about removing the wraps and sort of like making them more stock configuration and finding new homes for them, which would be kind of a shame because those things have done some pretty great stuff.
Yeah, I believe they're using all of the sand in them to actually help douse the fires. Yeah, that's the plan. Yeah.
Now, how close to extinguished or contained are these fires? Do you know?
Well, the Pasadena fire is in relatively good shape now as we record this on Saturday night. It's starting to be contained, but the Palisades fire is still burning like crazy. I think maybe 20% contained now, maybe a little bit more.
Out of control.
Yeah, but it's still any amount of serious wind, and that could become a huge problem again. It was the 100-mile-per-hour Santa Ana's that caused that to happen in the first place, and more of that, and it's going to be really bad. So we're hoping beyond hope that this is hopefully on the decline, and that we'll get to rebuilding, because there's an awful lot of that to do. Awful lot of Land Rover Club members from the Los Angeles area affected, through the club where we're doing some outreach and stuff. It's a pretty serious deal. So
no one wants to see that happen. And certainly, our thoughts are with those people that are affected, and we hope that they can recover. Yeah. If you are in a position to donate, please do so to the recovery efforts.
It is super tough. We're going to get through it. And it's cool that those Rovers could have a second life there in helping out. So
that's a cool story.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. That's pretty cool for sure.
Stephen, I hope you have a safe journey on the return trip. Thanks for representing the Underpowered Hour in the UK. It's really unfortunate they're deporting you and not letting you back.
That's right. Yeah, I won't be allowed in the United States or into the UK. So I'll be
like Tom Hanks in that Terminal movie.
Yeah, I'm going to be on a little island between the two. There's that one, and I think where Amelia Earhart died. That's where I'm going to be on that island.
I have a crazy story about finding Amelia Earhart's plane, but I'll have to save that for another episode.
On next week's episode, we'll talk all about finding Amelia Earhart's plane. And with that, I'm off to Nando's and bring you back some piri piri, so you can enhance your review with that new knowledge. And until then, we'll see you next week.
All right, I'm looking forward to it. Take care.
The Underpowered Hour is produced by Liza Beres, Ike Goss, and me, Steve Beres. Pavel Svardov composed and performed our theme music. Consider supporting the show on Patreon, and if you already do, thank you. Your support makes the show possible. For even more, check out our Instagram or Facebook.